Bitcoin remains at 72,000 US dollars. We're holding relatively steady, considering that we actually saw absolutely terrible economic numbers yesterday. Meanwhile, the altcoins are just kind of drifting along. Tau experienced a massive drop of over 20 to 30% last night. We'll take another look in a moment at what happened there. That was the reason for it. Otherwise, everything else is the same. The market is waiting for big news. And by big news, I mean, are there going to be any ceasefires or anything like that? The truly big news happening in the background. Somehow nobody seems to care about those. And with that, welcome to a new crypto update video. Yes, Bitcoin at $72,200. We're still in our range. Everyone is just asking, or if we take a quick look at the stock markets, stocks rise in optimism ahead of US-Iran talks. That's the number one topic, friends. We don't know any other topics anymore except for the war. But luckily, I'm still here and always find a few other topics for you to get annoyed about. Before we get started, as always, feel free to leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And of course, also check out the free Telegram talk and signal group. If you're interested in updates, news, and signals, feel free to join. You'll find the link for it for free down in the video description. And if you're still looking for an exchange where you can trade all of this, you can also sign up with my partner exchange Bingies for the next 6 days. There's an event going on. If you register, you'll have the chance to secure a VIP 2 benefit as a trial pass for 1 month. Plus, there's also the deposit event, depending on how much USDT you end up depositing. If it's 1,000 USDT, then you'll get a $150, or rather a 150 USDT voucher. So feel free to check it out. This event is still valid for another 6 hours and 17 days. Feel free to join in. All right, let's get started. So as I said, Bitcoin is at 72,200 US dollars. Somehow it's pretty much unchanged. The dollar is at 99, oil at 98. Why are we up here? Well, I just read it out loud. Everyone is just waiting for news from Iran. Yesterday was the best. Israel says it agrees to direct talks with Lebanon. That was the headline yesterday. Why Bitcoin? Where do we have it? Let's switch to the 1 hour time frame here. That was the headline for this pump here. It doesn't make any sense at all because in the afternoon we actually got news, real news, economic news. If we take a quick look at it. Come on, load. I'll refresh it again. It's taking a bit longer today. Let's go back to yesterday because we got important news yesterday. Specifically, the PCA core rate rose by 0.4%. The price index itself is at 3.0%. Initial jobless claims, okay. The worst part, the gross domestic product fell from 4.4% to 0.5%. That's a massive drop, and we're only reacting to this now. While Trump is once again making some Truth Social posts, and while there still isn't a real ceasefire, things could escalate again at any time. But every tiny bit of hope is used as an excuse to trigger some bullshit pumps. It has nothing to do with macroeconomics, it's just news. I already explained this in detail during yesterday's livestream because there's so much nonsense going on. It's happening everywhere. Private credit, Moody's is giving a negative outlook. FOMC minutes, has anyone out there actually read the FOMC minutes? Where now 50% are hawkish, meaning bearish about possible interest rate hikes. No one has read them. Why? Because no one cares. That's a big, big problem. Japan, what's going on there? Is there going to be an interest rate hike? The next rate increase? Wheat prices are rising. Now tonight, where do we have it here? OpenAI investors say it has a computing advantage over Anthropic. So what's going on there? What's happening tonight? Because strangely enough, if we read this article, the Anthropic model is causing concern. That's why Powell and Bassett invited the CEOs of the banks right in the middle of the night to a very important meeting. After it became known that the model is a more powerful system, which, according to Unprofit, is capable of identifying and exploiting vulnerabilities in any major operating system and web browser when prompted by a user. AI is not only good, AI can also bring big, big problems. And when Powell and Bassett hold a secret meeting or a quick meeting, convened for banks and such, so apparently a point was reached there that could possibly trigger a financial crisis. Just like that, very quickly. It's really, really interesting what you read under the radar when you ignore all of this here. It's unbelievable. We only read news now. So about war, about what's happening in the background, somehow in my opinion, no one is really noticing that. It could also be that I'm just way too bearish, but what's currently brewing everywhere in the background is not a solid foundation for a perfect bottom. And how can you tell how fragile the system is right now, including when it comes to altcoins? Exactly. 2 weeks ago, Taro was still the multi-dollar company and Tao was going to the moon. And what happened to Tao today? Massive drop to $248. Within, well, what are we on now? The 4-hour chart. Within just 2 4-hour candles, it dropped 30%. Why? Because where do we have the news here? So here it is. Big drama on Tao right now. Covenant AI is leaving Betenta. Tao, cool. One of the biggest, or here, the biggest builder became the biggest critic. Nobody's answer to accusations. Cool. That's why after a 100% commitment, out, and technically speaking, really technically speaking, this is probably a textbook ABC. Shall we have some fun and pull up the FIB level for this? Definitely. And technically speaking, it's a textbook ABC correction. So for now, that's resolved. I would still wait here for now before investing any further. But technically speaking, the ABC has played out, and theoretically, we could have the A consolidated here, then another B up, and then a larger C down to around $150. That's all for Tao in any case. But let's switch back to Bitcoin. Bitcoin is just drifting around. Let's move over to the volume. What does the volume say? The volume is absolutely not there. The volume is still around 10 million, but only every now and then. You can see the gaps here. That's not price action, that's bullshit. But luckily today, there will probably be some important news again, like someone throwing a bomb somewhere. Or you pay attention to the right news because today at 2:30 p.m., the CPI data will be released. It is expected that they will rise to 3.4%. That's a wonderful scenario for the economy. Inflation is rising, everything is going up. Isn't that great? Well, at least the things that aren't supposed to go up. Wheat prices, oil prices, gas prices, the CPI data, everything is getting more expensive. Interest rates are rising. Don't you notice outside everything is flourishing? Everything is fantastic. Big beautiful, as Trump would say. Yeah, definitely Bitcoin. Well, what more can you say about that? Yesterday, I felt a bit resigned just before I went to bed. For all I care, give it 200,000. It's so euphoric anyway. Let's go to 200,000. Come on, let's declare the start of altcoin season now. Let's start with Tao. Tao is now kicking off the altcoin season. After that, we'll continue with Ethereum. Ethereum is still just drifting around too. Solana, perfect. Same game, to the moon. Everything looks ultra bullish. I can't say it with a straight face. Sorry guys, but nothing looks bullish at all. There's no volume, there's no buying power. As long as we have high interest rates, in my opinion, nothing will change about that. And I don't think this picture will improve today if inflation rises to 3.4%. Quite the opposite. While other countries are raising their interest rates anyway, because the Strait of Hormuz still isn't really open, and at most 5% of what used to go through is getting through now. Something seems to be off. And if we look at the heat map, it's kind of a sad story because this is the range we've been stuck in for weeks. This is the 7-day time frame. If we switch to the monthly time frame, you'll see it even more clearly because it's terrible. This is the monthly time frame. We're still in the same range. Nothing has changed. We're still between, I'd say, $66,000 to $75,000, and nothing has changed. Top liquidity has been taken, but the same clusters remain. Unfortunately, I can't give you any more hope right now. Let's move on to the important topics. Let's switch over to the dollar index. It's still at 99, has flattened out a bit, but it's still too high. Oil, what's going on with oil? Yesterday, after those damn news came out again, supposedly about a ceasefire, which was already broken again 5 minutes later. Oil dumped, oil dropped again. We're still at the 100 mark, and that's a problem. And for those who remember, I had to chuckle a bit myself. It's actually not funny, but yesterday I made this post on X. I think Trump will soon have to post about peace again, now that government bonds have soared exorbitantly. Less than an hour later, Netanyahu posted that they want to talk with Lebanon. Blab, and back up to normal again. But what even is normal these days? Let's take a look at government bonds. The 2-year and 5-year bonds, which are still just under 4%. The 10-year bonds at 4.3%, which are rising again. There's a problem, a big, fat problem that no one is paying attention to at the moment or has paid attention to, and that's this wig. At first, when I showed you this on Monday, I thought maybe it was a scam wig, but it's not. It's actually that accurate. And the 2-year bonds were at 4.25%. The 5-year bonds were at 4.2%. The 10-year bonds were at 4.3%. Guys, this reeks of shit, seriously. And I mean that absolutely seriously. When the 2-year bonds rise above the 5-year government bonds, that's a yield intervention. And that's not good. If you get more return for 2 years than for 5 years, the whole system doesn't make any sense. And that's absolute uncertainty. That's another factor why at the moment something is just not right in this market. Absolutely. I hope you agree with me, but this makes no sense. Shall we move on to Japan? Same game, shit show, everything at all-time high levels. Makes no sense. EU, 3% again, the 10-year bonds. We're approaching the all-time high again. Something is really not right. But I can't tell you what it is. Something is currently affecting the markets. And that's the thing, because I'm absolutely bearish, but something's not right. But I don't know what it is. Let's just wait and see. Let's move on to the traditional markets. The DAX is moving nicely towards the wave. Currently, the DAX is at wave 4. The Dow Jones is heading towards the golden pocket. So we can put a little box here, a sell zone, at least here, or a box. The golden pocket has been reached here because for me, that's pretty much the maximum that can be squeezed out at the moment. What does maximum mean? Yesterday, we talked about how this whole movement might have been an A, that we're now in the B, and then we'll go down to C. It's the same story with the NASDAQ. Here too, we've entered the golden pocket. And with that, the B wave target has actually been reached. S&P 500, same story. And the fractal is still pretty accurate with the gap. After that, a few more days of rising prices, a few days of rising prices, and then came the rollover. So here too, we're still following the same pattern, especially when we look at the volume. Let's take a look. What does the volume look like at the moment? It doesn't really look good. Big problem. Also, the volatility index is still at 21. It has definitely flattened out now, but still keep an eye on it for a bit longer. Meanwhile, Palantir, just for the sake of all our analyses, A, B, C, D, E, in my opinion, we are currently in the middle of ED, was hit perfectly up here, off by just about 10 cents or so. Tesla is in a downward move in wave 4. Just as an example, the stock analyses are going much better than any crypto analyses at the moment. Google as well. ABC was hit perfectly, now up here to B. If C follows, then we're down here. I would say that at the latest, a decision has to be made next week, a negative one. Otherwise, happy bull run, happy profits, happy altcoin season. Otherwise, I'm honestly at a loss now too. I've kind of lost hope anyway. In this market, at least the way things are going right now, the way things are at the moment, we're seeing gold rise. That's usually not a good sign when interest rates stay the same. Silver is going up again. Commodities, everything is rising. And both the stock markets and crypto markets are going up too. Well, let's just wait and see. Now it's the weekend anyway. I wish you all a wonderful start to the weekend. We'll catch up again on Sunday, fresh and lively for a new live stream. Otherwise, just enjoy the weekend a bit, switch off for a while. Try not to trade too much and not with too much leverage. Remember your stop loss. And otherwise, well, how do I end something like this? Just let the shit show keep going. Until then, ciao, and as always, stay creepy.